The company's been around for more than 80 years, growing from a small local shop to a multi-billion-dollar business. But it's that in-between time, from small to big, when Columbia Sportswear saw its biggest challenges.
Yeah, so this is a big part of the business today, which is...
Before Columbia Sportswear started selling outdoor gear, it was a much smaller company.
We've been very, very fortunate. I mean, we've had lots of great help. And
this is Tim Boyle, the company's current CEO and president.
Hi, I'm Gert Boyle, Chairman of Columbia Sportswear. My son Tim, our president.
When you think of Columbia, Gert Boyle's One Tough Mother commercials and no-nonsense approach to running the business may come to mind. But it was her father, Tim's grandfather, Paul Lamfrom, who started it all. And before he opened a business in Portland, he ran a successful one in Germany.
He had a little business that made shirts, which he sold in the local markets, and he wanted to get out of Germany.
It was 1938, and Hitler had already taken power. As a Jew in Nazi Germany, Paul had his business taken away from him. So he and his family fled the country and settled in Portland.
My grandfather bought a little hat and cap company called Rosenfeld Hat Company, but he, just coming from Nazi Germany, he didn't want to have a Jewish name on the business, so he picked what 90% of the businesses in Portland are at Columbia. It was the Columbia Hat Company.
For more than a decade, the company would do good business, selling all sorts of hats.
The hat business was in place firmly from 1938 to call it the 1950s. And then all of a sudden, men in America quit wearing hats. So that became a problem if you're in the hat business.
The Columbia Hat Company needed a new approach in order to stay alive. So they tried to sell literally everything.
The family cast about trying to sell all sorts of stuff, everything from Little League uniforms to boats and swimsuits and just almost anything that you could think of.
Just trying to see if something would stick.
Yep, and luckily what stuck was something called a rope toe mitten.
In 1950, Tim Boyle's dad, Neil, had joined the family business. The Columbia Hat Company had rebranded itself to reflect what it now sold, thus becoming Columbia Sportswear. This was the early logo. It would later change to the woven fabric look that we know today. Two products helped the company grow, the mittens and a fishing vest.
What the company was founded on were those two ideas, rope toe mittens, fishing vests, and then we started manufacturing a few ancillary items that were along the lines of other outdoor products, and that was what really sustained the business for many years.
Neil took over the business in 1964, but died suddenly of a heart attack 6 years later. The company fell on hard times.
He made every mistake he could possibly make.
So Tim dropped out of school to help run the company with his mom, Gert. Almost immediately, Columbia Sportswear was on the verge of bankruptcy.
It tanked.
Things were bad, yeah. And then things got worse because we had no idea what we were doing, and it was a very tough time.
The bank came calling to collect on outstanding loans and suggested they sell the company. They tried, but only one offer came in, a measly $1,400.
And my mom simply just said, I can drive it in the ground myself. I don't need that.
I had it up to here and I fired everybody and we started all over again.
Things turned around. They reduced the amount of items they sold in their catalog and started importing products from overseas.
We started to design some interesting and unusual products. Primarily, the Bugaboo Parka was our real first launch of an unusual, highly differentiated item.
Columbia Sportswear was off to a good start. It would only get better from there. What started out as a hat store in downtown Portland has grown to be a lucrative worldwide sportswear brand.
When you look at to see what Columbia is today, was that the vision 50 years ago?
No, I mean, if I ever thought we would survive, that would be way greater than I ever thought we would be successful doing.
Columbia Sportswear went public in 1998 and today employs thousands of employees around the world. They have 3 other brands under their name and are poised to bring in more than $3 billion this year alone. I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.